It's amazing what goes on around us, within us, without our ever really noticing it. Take our sense of hearing, for example. How amazingly awesome is it that vibrations in the air, traveling at 767 miles per hour, are interpreted by membranes in what is possibly the funniest looking organ of the human body, and that all somehow translates into someone honking a car's horn. I couldn't be more amazed if you had told me that we had a miniature wizard in our skulls accomplishing the same task. Still, that biological Gandalf only gets us so far. Hearing, you see, isn't quite the same as listening. As a student, you're going to have to cultivate a skill we like to call active listening. Hearing someone talk is an entirely passive thing. Your brain is going to interpret those sound waves and recognize them as speech, regardless of what you do. Listening requires an active effort on your part, and it is with listening, as much as with reading and doing, that we learn. Active listening can also be described as paying attention, a phrase we've all been on the receiving end of, usually as part of a request from a teacher for us to please start focusing on the math problem on the board. You've already learned the first step in being an active listener. You've learned that hearing the words and listening to them aren't the same. You're probably familiar with the second step too. Your teachers are going to ask you to take notes at times, and this isn't just your teachers trying to ruin your day. By asking you to write down key points of what you've heard as you hear it, teachers are asking you to take an active role in your own learning. By engaging your mind and trying to assimilate what you're hearing into writing, we're trying to throw a switch in your brain to force that biological Gandalf, in other words, to pay closer attention to what you are hearing. Did you know that English was a melting pot of a language? Start with the tongue of the Germanic Anglo tribe, add a dash of Norse, Celtic, then Latin, and a bit of French, and you've got the English language. The problem with having such a polyglot language is that sometimes meaning can be murky and mysterious, even if you speak the language. For instance, did you know what polyglot meant? There are many context clues when you're hearing someone speak that can help you decipher what they are really saying. Tone, inflection, body language, and other clues. Unfortunately, going virtual tends to wash out a lot of those context clues, meaning that it becomes much more important to actively listen to teachers and fellow students during live sessions. How many of you have had a conversation through texting, email, or instant messenger go horribly wrong because someone misunderstood what was truly being said? Part of actively listening is to engage your mind in trying to figure out exactly what someone else is saying. Listening to their heart, in other words, as much as to their words. You actively seek meaning instead of passively letting a conversation or lecture wash over you. Without the context of a small smile, sarcasm can be misunderstood as cruelty. And without a supporting hand on the shoulder, a word of constructive criticism can appear harsh and judgmental. Active listening can help prevent the misunderstandings common in a virtual setting that can start through lack of context and passive hearing when our biological Gandalf falls asleep at the wheel. A common enemy of active listening, especially in the virtual environment, is a distracted mind. Trying to listen to a live class, chat with your friends on instant messenger, and look up how the Rangers did the night before all at the same time? Some would call that multitasking, but in point of fact, you should call it what it is: distraction. Recent science has provided proof that multitasking is a poor environment for learning. Essentially, the quality of each of your tasks drops dramatically. Multitasking asks your brain to passively engage in listening, and by now you know what we require of our students: active listening. Active listening involves more than just your ears. Sometimes it means engaging your hands in writing notes of what you're learning, or typing messages in the chat box that apply to what you're hearing. Sometimes it involves talking, offering a thoughtful response to what your teacher has said. Always, however, active listening involves your heart, trying to take in what the speaker is truly trying to say with a positive attitude.